Zoinks! We've got a second The Last of Us 2 video today as this story's kind of winding down. There's some new interesting information and a reminder of what was the worst part of The Last of Us 2 leaks. Now, yesterday they had a brand new trailer drop. That, of course, they disabled the likes and dislikes and disabled the comment section to try and protect people from being spoiled in the comments, which I, of course, 100% support. I don't support maliciously spoiling people who just want to try and enjoy a game. If you're not happy with the game, don't buy it. Tell your friends not to buy it. Whatever. That's 100% cool. Make a video like I do talking about how disrespectful they were to the original character's lore and how pathetic the writing is, which I'm going to get into. The writing itself was designed to make you feel bad. That was its design. As of being, and this has been reported for many months, there are many small things that I will talk about in this video that were purposely designed to make the game player feel bad. It's almost as if whoever wrote the story was really unhappy with their life, for example, and they were like, how can I make everyone cry? How can I make everyone just feel like trash? That's how you end up, I don't know, totally destroying the legacy of two beloved characters, and that's just the start of it. Now, yesterday's trailer did basically confirm all of the leaks. Naughty Dog and Sony Interactive Entertainment released a new trailer for The Last of Us Part 2, and it hints that many of the devastating plot beats revealed in the major leaks from earlier this month will be true when the game releases. The trailer, which was first teased on Tuesday, gives us a glimpse at Ellie's descent into revenge-fueled madness after some devastating event, but it's a much more nuanced and emotional journey than what was implied by the leaks. Now, there has been a lot of people analyzing this story and talking about how revenge begets revenge, hate begets hate, eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. That's an okay story to tell. It's not new, it's not unique, but it's not off limits. It's certainly something that can be explored. And if you want people to feel like garbage playing your video game, I suppose you could do that. Quote, I know you wish things were different. Joel sells to Ellie as the trailer opens. She also looks miserable and strained, implying that some dramatic event has set her upon her quest. What's new? We do get a closer look at gameplay. The Last of Us Part 2 will have more open-ended gameplay than the original, and will seemingly let players loose in a wider open-world area. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of new information here, with the scenes mainly focusing on Ellie's descent into a more rageful and bad behavior, rather than a struggle for survival. Ellie's seeking the bad behavior for reasons we don't quite understand yet. There are many interesting scenes that show off the dynamic situations, like Ellie firing a weapon from the back of a vehicle as enemies pursue her in the vehicle of their own. Now, the biggest problem with The Last of Us, for me, was that there just wasn't enough, that it felt on rails. I do love a good story, but I think it's a delicate balance between the game feeling on rails versus having some semblance of open world. Now, there are certain things, major spoilers for The Last of Us. So, does it address the leak? A massive The Last of Us 2 Part 2 plot and gameplay leak perpetrated by Hacksaws in April 2020, and by early May, important story details were leaked on the internet. To summarize, a new character named Abby does some bad things. I'm not going to go through them. I'm not going to spoil people. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to talk about, though, is what I think is the worst part of The Last of Us 2 leaks. And that is that, again, they are deliberately trying to make you feel bad. Let me tell you just some of the things, right? The dogs, okay? We can go back to an email here. This promotional email I just got about The Last of Us 2 was a choice. Here we go. New features include dogs. One of the most noticeable new features of the game is the inclusion of dogs. These dogs are in the game to follow your scent, and they will attack you as soon as they have sniffed you out. Not a bad plot a tension lifter, not a bad mechanic. I mean, it's actually plausible and things like that. So the game doesn't pull any punches or, quote, stray from the idea that while you're playing as Ellie in a struggle to survive, ending these dogs is necessary. You'll also have to deal with the fact that that each dog has an owner, which will call out the dog's name and cry in absolute horror when they discover their lifeless furry best friend. You've been warned. What? Who is this? Is this for psychopaths? Who is this for? Hey, I know what you love. The owner of a dog's overwhelming, sorrowful cries and tears. Won't that be hilarious? By the way, you could very easily subdue a dog without having to end it. Just saying, you could tie it up, you could leash it, you could escape from it, you could do a lot of things. You could give it meat with tranquilizers in it. There'd be a lot of ways to get around actually ending that dog that are plausible even in a post-apocalyptic world. Now, I'm not saying, look, you all know I'm a pet guy. 3 cats, 2 foster cats, a dog. I get emotional, but I'm not even saying like, oh, I'm super offended. All right. It's your game. You want to put it in there. That's fine. I don't think people are going to love that. And on top of that, the fact that you're pointing it out as a feature is really bizarre. But see, the thing is, there are even more things like that. Because if we go back to September, The Last of Us 2 gives NPC enemies names to make you feel bad. That's what all this is. Ending your beloved characters, destroying their legacy, making dogs, dog owners have that emotional thing. It's hacky. It's hacky, unearned feel-bads. When we look at this article, quote, all of the human enemies in the game have names, Newman went on to say, describing how the NPCs would yell out to each other in combat and give orders about things like searching the area or flanking opponents, calling each other by their names. These aren't just faceless goons that you're fighting against. These are real people. According to Naughty Dog, the NPC names are assigned upon the character spawning in and are not randomized. So a player who reloads a checkpoint will not suddenly be facing a whole new set of enemies. Quote, it's all in service of making the bad behavior feel that much more real, the co-game director said. They're actually trying to make us feel bad for ending enemies in a video game. I mean, is this... And then we go back to this other article from Games Radar back in July of 2018 for The Last of Us 2. Neil Druckmann saying, we don't use the word fun, says The Last of Us 2. Neil, he seems like a goth kid. Like a goth kid trying to be really like, what does it matter? The whole world is pain, bro. And you have this article all the way back to July. We don't use the word fun, says Neil Druckmann. For us, the approach of Last of Us Uncharted is a little different in their creative approach. We don't use the word fun, Druckmann told BuzzFeed. When asked if the game ever tries to make combat less serious, we say engaging. And it might seem like a minor distinction, but it's an important one for us. We believe that if we're invested in the character and the relationships that they're in and their goal, then we're gonna go along with the journey with them, maybe commit acts that make us uncomfortable across our moral lines, and maybe get us to ask questions about where we stand on righteousness and pursuing justice at ever escalating costs. I don't know. If I were designing a video game, I probably wouldn't want to design it around not being fun. I wouldn't have that be my mantra. I get it that it's serious, and maybe that's part of why the first Last of Us was so successful, because of just the level of tension that you're going through the entire time. I don't know. I'm curious to hear if any of you think that you're going to let this cool off and pick up. A lot of people could probably wait a year or two and pick this up in the discount bin and maybe even forget some of the spoilers in that time. Are you still going to pick up this game? How many of you pre-ordered it? Are you canceling your pre-orders? I'm wondering if people are actually doing that. A lot of times people will say it on Twitter, or something like that, but you never really know. So let me know how everything's going. Let me know what you plan to do with The Last of Us 2 and what you think of not having fun playing your video games. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.